Like, I really love the feeling of hunger. What people would call struggle is really part of the craft.
New Olympia champion, Lauralie Chapados.
This is Lauralie Chapados, Evogen elite athlete, Miss Bikini Olympia 2024, and three-time Arnold Classic champion. Prepping as a Miss Olympia, it's much different than prepping in order to be Miss Olympia and earning the title. I would say, lucky enough, but it's not luck, it's just something that I've done the last year, was journaling every single day of my prep. So no prep is the same, but having that baseline of, okay, that was very successful, we have something that the judges approved of, and let's do that exactly, but even better. I want to say the biggest lesson for me from last year was I could be my worst enemy. And really the only person I had to beat was myself. The negative thoughts, the self-doubt, the self-worth. Thinking that I couldn't do it is not something that ends up being beneficial for me at all. Like, I really have to be centered and aligned with myself in a positive manner. So once I was able to let that down, I felt so much at peace, and that's exactly the feeling that I'm curating right now, this entire prep. I'm trusting my circle immensely, tremendously right now, and all I have to do is execute, and I'm able to, be more present as a whole, and I just get a lot more out of my cardio sessions. I'm more creative on the outside of my training, I would say, but then my training is extremely efficient, it's extremely optimal. So I would say that was my biggest lesson, to just let it be and let it go. I think every day you have to go back to, like, damn, I really like that. Like, I really love the feeling of hunger, like those, I call it the hungries. Like, I started getting the hungries, and I just make fun of it. It's kind of like you wake up at night and you feel the hunger, and you just have to, go to the bathroom and just, try to find a way to fall asleep again. So I find a good playlist, and getting hungry, and you find new little drinks, and I have my drinky drinks, and I have my schedule here, my schedule there, and what people would call struggle is really part of the craft, I feel. We're lucky to do what we do, and we have to be in that gratitude mindset. Knowing yourself and loving yourself and knowing that nobody is you, I think that was the biggest work that I could have done for myself early on in my career, to understand what bikini category is. People would always say that bikini is, they don't never know what they want, but for me it's very clear where the criteria is and how they are rewarding it. For the last 7 years, like, I made the top 5 at the Olympia for the last 7 years before earning my title, and I promise you, like, I knew where I missed the mark and where a body fit the criteria better than it was on that year for me. So as soon as I hit that criteria right, they rewarded me, and as they should, and as I wanted to be. So for me to stay grounded again is just reminding me of, I am who I am. The muscle that I have at now 29 years old is not the physique that I had at 18 or 19. It's different, but it was always to stay in that lane, stay within my feedback, stay within the work that I know works for me. I really think it's a patient game, and unfortunately, I think that the era that we're in with social media, like, when I started bodybuilding, I found myself going back to the gym just because. Like, I couldn't really explain why I liked it so much. I mean, my life was very simple. I was going to school, but I had this 1 hour that I had to make it work, but I was always finding myself to make it work. I wasn't recording myself. It wasn't for social media. It was honestly very inconvenient, if you ask me. It was not, I had to make time for it. I had to struggle with it. I'm from Canada. I had to take the snow off my car. Like, it was very inconvenient sometimes, but I was always finding myself back to go to the gym, and I think it made me feel better. So I think what they would have to do as, like, a younger, just a woman aspiring to be in the sport, is really falling in love with training. I think that saved me throughout my entire years of competing. It's like, when I was done with my competition prep, I was able, yes, to switch off, enjoy more freedom and food, but I was always finding myself back into the gym, wanting to lift weight, and anything that would take away from my performance at the gym, I would just say no to, and it always stayed like my core and my ground. So I think your purpose needs to be very strong, and fortunately for me, I think it was given to me at a very young age, at 17 years old. And it just stayed that way. And it wasn't until, obviously, now being my job, it's a different thing, but I had such a strong base. So when it comes to social media, all the things that were uncomfortable for me is to bring a tripod. I was like, okay, I can do the tripod thing, you know, and being uncomfortable with that for a little bit, because I've been doing all the uncomfortable thing of training really hard. But I feel that people try to skip that, but that's what had built me into that knowledgeable, like confident women that I show up as. Younger athletes or aspiring athletes, right? Because we're seeing more women even starting in their late 30s and doing amazing. I would say find real pleasure in the depth of the journey. And a journey is a very individual thing, but it's so beautiful. And really try to go in depth instead of going on the more superficial side of things. The thing that you actually see on social media is great. If you get inspired by it, it's great. But then use it as a doorway to really go in the deep of it, the deep end of like who you are, how you're feeling, what it feels to be full, flat. Are you BSing yourself? Are you hyping yourself up too much? Can you push yourself a little bit harder today? Did you give like your 100%, like really genuinely of it? Are you struggling with other things right now that would, and I feel like that is going to build you into just getting in tune with your body and being intuitive. And more you've seen that in other athletes being able to be in touch with themselves and their feeling, but you only get to do that once you've been into the trenches. Like, I don't think I could be as intuitive as I am if I wasn't a complete nut job in the beginning of my career, where I was not eating anything, like anything that wasn't cooking, I wasn't measuring myself, and I wasn't buying myself, I wasn't putting in my mouth. And I've done this to now being able to, okay, if I don't have the chicken breast, I can actually like go to Whole Foods, take the paleo chicken breast and make it work. You know what I mean? But I do think that I'm able to do that because I know if my coach tells me take a piece of ice and it's gonna work, I knew that I would take the piece of ice and make it work, you know? So until you've done that and you, again, find the pleasure in the depth of it, I just think that's really what builds you. And that's really the most you're gonna get out of bodybuilding. And I feel like if you take anything, like any investment, like, because it is an investment, like journey into the bodybuilding, like you just go like all the way, just go all the way, because that's where the rainbow is at.